Now, a little while back, I started reading the book of Job, and something was always just pushing me towards it in this season. It was like, you need to read it, you need to understand it, you need to see what it is that God wants you to learn. So I started reading the book of Job, right? And it's funny because during the time that I started reading the book of Job, I was becoming more serious with God. I was trying to find my footing and trying to talk to Him and make a relationship with Him, because I wanted to get to know Him more. I wanted to make sure that He heard me, that He understood the things that I was going through, and I started reading the book of Job, and I swear the situation I went through was so similar. I became really sick in my time in the military, and it was one thing after another, and they couldn't find out what was going on. And it was the vaccines were doing too much damage, medication was doing too much damage, and everything was going to shit. I was fighting a lot with my son, with my fiance at the time, and I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I had all this anger, and I was just super annoyed with him. I started reading the book of Job, and I started learning that Job was a righteous man. Job had everything. He had animals, he had family, he had servants, he had property, he had money, he had a lot of things, right? There was a time that the devil went to God and he told him, basically, let me mess with him, because I know he's gonna curse you or he's gonna neglect you if I mess with him. Like, the only reason he's so righteous is because you give him everything. Take it away and see how he changes, right? And God said, okay, I know my son. I know him. And he will still bless me. He will still worship me. He will still love me, even if you put him through all that. Don't take his life. You can't touch his life. You can't kill him. But you can do everything else to him. So the devil went and did everything to him. He took his kids. He killed them. Killed his animals. He killed a bunch of his relationships. He ruined him. He gave him sickness. He made his wife sick. All these things started happening. He was like, I don't know what I did to get you mad. And his friends came to visit him for a little while, right? And when they first saw him, they stood in silence with him for 7 days. They were just like, to see you come this down and just being silent with your friend, you have to understand that that's a hard thing to do. Like, to see your friend so down and beaten and cursed and disgusting, it's just like, what the fuck, So over time, everybody kind of started pointing fingers, like, maybe you did this, maybe you did this, maybe you did this. And everybody was just kind of telling Job, it's your own fault. You must have done something to get God mad. And he was like, maybe my kids did something. I don't know. But I know I love God, and I know there's a reason for everything. And he kind of just stood to his word, that God was going to come through. God was handling it. Over time, his friends started, assuming that, maybe God wasn't righteous. Maybe he wasn't a good man. Maybe he deserved what he got. And it's like, with friends like that, why do you need enemies? It went to the point that he was really sick. He had shit all over his skin, and he was really skinny. He was losing weight, and he had all these things going on. And that's when it hit me, because I had a gastrointestinal virus, and it was killing me. And I felt like I was in that season for so long that I didn't know what was going on. I knew I was sick. I knew there was something wrong, but I didn't know exactly what it was. And I knew God was real. I know he was there, but I knew that for whatever reason, he was letting me go through this. And I was getting tired of it. I was getting tired of it because it was years that I was sick. And I was just still kind of like, I don't know if you're real or not anymore, because I pray to you and I'm begging you to help me, and you're not doing anything, So I was mad at God for a little while, and then I was ignoring him. I was like, you don't want to come get me? Fine, I'll figure it out. So I started reading books. I started learning shamanism. I started learning energy. I started learning vibrations. I started learning how to open the third eye and everything. Now that I talk about it, it's like, oh, I was being really snotty. God, no wonder you put me through it. But you let me go through it. I started learning yoga. I started learning Ayurveda, how to, manage the body, manage the energies in there, how to clean myself, how to meditate, how to do all this stuff, right? And a lot of it was new age stuff mixed in. Long story short, I started getting oppressed by these demons. I felt like I was even possessed at one point, and I got delivered. Right, I started hearing a lot of things. I started feeling all this anger, all this negativity, this nasty vibration was always coming to me. And when that would come, I would fight a lot with my loved ones. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, God, but I know something's wrong, and I know it's not from you, and I need your help. Come get me. And it took a little while for me to learn to stop messing with that stuff, because I was just in such a habit of it, of waking up and praying and meditating and doing yoga to get my body strong. But doing yoga and meditating, at the end of the day, you're opening a spiritual realm. And if you're not grounded in God, you're not really grounded in his truth, you're gonna be manipulated. You will. Even if you don't want to, even if you say that you're smart and this and that, you're not. You're still very retarded. These demons have been here for centuries. And they know how to manipulate the mind of the human. They know exactly how we work. They know that our emotions get the best of us, and they know that if we had trauma, we're captured by them in this prison. So there was this one time that he came, and God came to me. I was being possessed basically, and it felt like The Conjuring. When the lady's under the house, and she's kind of screaming and stuff, and they're praying on her, and they're saying all this stuff, and they start yelling at her, you gotta fight for your kids, you gotta fight. And just that scene was like, oh fuck, that's what I went through. Felt like that, because every time I would close my eyes, I would see demons, and I was like, what the fuck, what did I do? And every time I would close my eyes, it would happen again, and I started praying. I was like really angry to God then. So when I was reading the book of Job, I was like, oh, I went through a similar thing, but I fucked up because I was angry at God, and I went my own way and did my own thing, and then he came for me. But the story that I'm getting to is that sometimes you're gonna have seasons like Job, and sometimes it's for your own good, it's for your own growth and stuff. Everything at the end of the day is for his glory. So if you're going through something, just embrace it, learn from it, go through it, and ask God to be with you through it. Because at the end of the day, that's who you want there. That's who you need there. You need someone that's truth, someone that's light, someone who's honest, who won't change his promises, someone who's always rooting for you. And here on earth, you may have that with your significant other, or your kids or whatever, but it's never going to compare to the love that God has for you. And it was really hard for me to accept that at one point, but I was like, I'm like Job, you took away my family, you took away my health, you took away my reason to want to live for the world, and that was one of the best lessons I had from him, was I had to let go of the stuff from this earth. I had to let it go. I had to be okay with not having any of it and just having him. And at first it was difficult because I grew up in a Mexican home. I grew up with everybody, just hanging out around with each other, everybody helping each other. And at one point, all that stopped. When COVID came, nobody wanted to hang out with me because I wasn't vaccinated. And it's like, and I'm not gonna be vaccinated. So if you guys wanna not talk to me because of that, because you have your belief that the shot's gonna help you and it's gonna keep you from getting sick, it's fine. But I'm not gonna get tangled in that lie. I know better. He took them away, and I was like, whatever. I'm over it. I had to go through that season to get humbled, to grow, to love him, to look for him. And, I haven't finished the story of Job, but I have heard that, he gets everything back. He gets even more back after it. And that's what I'm holding on to. Like, I didn't go through all this stuff for nothing. And there's going to be seasons in which the devils come and tell you you're not worth it. He doesn't care about you. You're not even worth his time. You're a piece of shit. You're of the world still. And all these things are going to come at you. When they do, you ground yourself in God, because he's just watching what you're doing. He's like, you're going to let him punk you, or are you going to let him understand that you're a child of me? Child of God. You're a daughter of a king. Are you going to keep letting him push you around like that? And it was such a contradiction, because I was like, yo, the Bible says that I need to turn the other cheek. So what do? Do I fight back in this one, or do I just keep turning the cheek? Because I'm tired of being hit. And it took a long time. I had to give up a lot of things. I had to fast again. I had to learn to ground myself in God. And over time, I learned again that stuff on this road is just gonna leave, and that his love will provide everything we need. So he's slowly giving me people back. He's slowly giving me better friends. He's slowly giving me some family. He's slowly giving me my memories. He's slowly giving me my sanity back. He is. I'm just impatient as a human, and it's natural, we're humans, And I like to tell you guys this story because 4 years ago, I wouldn't have been so firm in God, so happy with him, so in love with him, so grateful for him, for everything he's put me through. I wouldn't have been like this 4 years ago. I would have been like, no, he doesn't love me. Fuck that. He's not even real. I'm just going to continue on. I need to figure it out. I need to hustle. I need to do this. I need to do this. But he was so loving that he took all of that from me to make me listen. He took my health. He took my time. He took my ambition. He took everything. And it was for my good. I've lost people. It hurt me. It did. They crucified me. They did. And I was having to learn to love them through that. I was having to learn to understand them through that. And I was like, I don't want to. They're being assholes. They're being this. They're being that. Like, you need to teach them. Like, I need to teach you. I need to teach you. And you need to listen. And it was just such a tug, because we have these intrusive thoughts that constantly come at us that we're not worthy, we're not strong enough, we're not going to make it, we're always going to be poor, we're always going to be here, we're always going to be stuck, there's always going to be problems. And it's like, none of that's true. Like, maybe some of it's good for your own good, for your own health, but when God has a hand on you, all of that disappears. He conditions you, but he blesses the shit out of you too. And a lot of blessings aren't money. And that's one thing that you guys need to learn, that the blessings of life aren't money. It's time. It's literally time. And a lot of people don't have that. They don't have the discipline or the love or the urge to just sit. They're always in a rush. There's always something to get done. You need to do the house. You need to go to school. You need to go to work. You need to do this. You need to take the kids to school. You need to get yourself to school. So many things happen. And you don't have time. But when I was going through the season of Job, all I had was time. All I had was time. So it was a lot of meditating at this time. It was a lot of centering myself, a lot of praying, a lot of learning how to fast correctly, a lot of learning how to lean on God. And so much of it was so difficult because I was going through it alone. You know, I was having to learn these things, and my fiance at the time was just still doing his thing. He was still going to work, he was still doing, but he was still living for the world. You know, my son, he was middle school, transitioning into high school. He was all about the world. He wanted to have time with his friends. He wanted to have money to go out. He wanted to do this. He wanted to do that. And it's like, there's a time for everything. And right now, this is where I'm at. And if I can't move and do stuff for you, then you can't move either. So over time, they slowly started getting more fond of God. They slowly started seeing how God was working in my life and how it was moving on to them, how it was expanding to them. And you know, I tell you guys a story because during that time, during those seasons, they didn't go to church. They didn't read their Bibles. My husband and my son, they were just like, I have God with me, and that's all I need, you know. And I started pushing for church. I started looking for God. I started just wanting more of Him, even though it wasn't completely going the way I wanted to. But He has shown up for me, so it's like, I know you're real, and I know you can do things, and I know you will do things for us, but I need you to help them. I need you to save them, because I don't want them being where I am. You know, I was being taunted by demons for months, and I'm grateful for it now because I know their tricks, I know what they do, I know their patterns, and I know this, I know that, but it's like, I asked them to help me, you know, and you don't think He's going to do the same thing to them so they can learn? And it's a harsh reality. You know, you start following God, demons are going to come after you. They want your soul too. They're going to come after your kids. They're going to come after your loved ones. They're going to come after your neighbors, your surroundings, to make sure you turn back to the world. Stay strong. Stay strong when that time comes. We're human. We're meant to make mistakes, but we're human. And a lot of us are soldiers of Christ. We're not just human. You know, and it's going to get to a point where a lot of you are going to wake up. You're going to have that spiritual awakening. That veil is going to come off. Prepare yourself when that time comes so you don't fall in those traps. I'm telling you this now so you know, and you don't go in saying, oh, nobody told me. Nobody warned me. Nobody prepared me. I'm telling you right now, start reading your Bible so you learn how to deflect the attacks of the enemy. Because they're not physical attacks. They're psychological. They're mental. They're spiritual. And if he can get in here and start fucking everything up, he can stop you from going to God. He'll get you so focused here with problems here that you won't want to look for God because there's so much to do here. There's such a pressure here. There's so much work to do here. But you need to learn that God can take care of all that in an instant if you give Him your time, if you give Him your love, if you understand Him, if you seek Him, if you follow Him. You don't have to be Miss Perfect, Mr. Perfect. You just gotta want God in your life. You just gotta ask Him to come help you and He'll show up. So there'll be times that we're having seasons of Job. That's okay. But don't get comfortable there. Don't get comfortable there. Learn your lessons. Keep pushing. Keep growing. Keep looking for God and get out of there. Don't let the enemy keep pushing you down and punching you down. Take that swing back. That's what I've learned in this season. As much as things suck and they're not going your way, and you keep getting pushed and smacked and everything by life, sometimes it's okay to stop turning the other cheek and just take that swing so they know not to mess with you. This ain't all about the physical, it's about the spiritual. I hope you learned something, because I let you see me looking like shit. Learn something from this video.